Hi there, it's me Omar speaking. Welcome to my tutorials. This is a free version that I make for you guys in order to create more awareness between car design community, and so the students or people that want to become a car designer, they're aware about there's some learning materials available. I'm gonna try to do my best in order to explain how I do things. I'm gonna be talking a little bit about style, um, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So what I'm doing right now, just underneath my sketch, I'm trying to put some painting. Um, let's say I'm gonna try to do this spherical shape so I can have a specific focal point. This is more similar to a render of a sphere, right? When you have a core and you have a highlight, and that's how the primitive shapes, in this case the sphere, pops out. So I'm doing basically the same. You need to have a very specific focal point in order to make the sketch pop. So yeah, this is let's say just a basic understanding um, about what is the best way to express your sketch. And because sometimes you have a sketch where you have lightings and everything is shiny all over the place, and there's no iPad where the people can just focus on certain areas, or they can focus on, let's say, on your message in the car, right, on the design, on the theme. So that's why I think it's very important having a focal point, so you can drive all the audience eyes into that specific point. So yeah, what I did is just with the lasso tool, in the same mask, in the same layer, I just select the shape that is going to be my DLO, and I just desaturate it. So in that way, any value that I put before is gonna stay there. It's not going away. Because if you, let's say, select with lasso another shape and you just start over and paint it in black, you're gonna eliminate any value that you had before, right? That you did previously. So I think it's better if you just select the piece that you want either more darker or in different color or desaturate it and just play with that. So what I'm doing here is just try to place a little bit of the core in the hood. So in that way, I just create, as I said, just with the lasso tool, I just copy paste and I just make it a little bit harder, um, a little bit more darker, so in order to simulate the core. So I think it's pretty important to have the basic values, the basic core, um, since you start the sketch, because that is going to give you the whole mass, the overall looking, and that's what we're looking for at the beginning. You're looking for the overall shape, and you have a pretty wide understanding of what you're doing. And then later on, okay, you go to more detail. You go in more specific on I don't know, headlamps, and some of the grill and logos and stuff like that. So, and also what I'm trying to do here is just try to simulate how the lighting is working in the hood, right? Since I have like these two volumes above the headlamps, and then I have this hood, so all these volumes are intersected, so the lighting and the core are moving and are, let's say, are moving in a certain way, right, in order to simulate how the shapes looks when they're intersected. So that's why you can see how am I doing like this kind of like shape that simulate that reflection um, on the hood. And I think the best way to express, or the best way to do a quick painting, is with lasso. So I strongly recommend to have some lasso, um, and then you can later on erase it a little bit, because usually lasso is a little bit messy. Depends on how you use it. If you use it for, let's say, making straight lines, okay, it's gonna be very clean. But if you want to make let's say round shapes or organic shapes, it's gonna end up being really loose, so you need to really control it. So as I said, the beginning is just about the overall shape. So try to put my values down, the ones that are really gonna define my vehicle. And what I'm gonna do right now is just try to erase a little bit of the sketch. I'm not gonna erase it all, because the value of the sketch is the one that is gonna like give me the clues that what is next on my sketch or what is next on my rendering. So after that, values, right after the big picture, the next thing I'm gonna do is just try to block the shape of the features, right? In this case, it's gonna be the front grille and maybe the headlamps, right? So what I'm doing right now is just with a selection. um, I'm just trying to like uh, keep transforming the selection in order to keep making the values, right? um, because it's all about is about duplicate that selection and just keep moving forward with that. So right, in that way you don't need to create every selection in every single time you need a new shape. So yeah, in this case it's pretty efficient because the shape is almost is the same basically, so just different sizes, so you save a lot of time doing that. So now you guys can see I'm applying a little bit of the dark color at the front, um, just because with lasso or with lasso sometimes the shape is a little bit stiff. So I think it's interesting that after doing the lasso shape you come up with a little bit of freehand and you kind of like work that outline out, right? So and that's how you get a little bit of loose, let's say, um, loose expression, but at the same time it's understandable, because that's the whole point. It's like you don't have to be either tight or loose. The thing is you need to be understandable, right? So if your style is a little bit loose, just make sure the value is there, the lines are there, the big picture, what you want to communicate, and you are all set, right? And right now what I'm gonna do is just try to, let's say, pop the front a little bit more. By doing that, I'm gonna add a little bit of a lighting on top, um, above the headlamp, so the volumes can be a little bit more strong. And then I'm gonna put a little bit at the bottom, right, with lasso tool, right? Lasso is pretty efficient, it's super quick. um, I strongly recommend, if you guys start if you guys wondering about should I use lasso or should I use pen tool. So yeah, I strongly recommend, if you guys want to make a quick expression, just go all the way from with lasso. Right now, as I said, I'm trying to block the shape. I'm gonna block the headlamps, right? It's just black circles in order to see the big picture, right? How this whole thing is gonna look, right? Or what is the expression that I'm getting out of it. So and you guys can see the sketch still there, because the sketch helped me to understand a little bit the silhouette and helped me understand what are the details that I might be missing on the rendering. So it just give you a clues, right? That's why you this is just one way to do things, right? To have a good sketch, understandable, and then do a rendering on top, right? because there's several ways to do things. You can have a really loose sketch. It's not that tight. It's more artistic, and you can refine it on rendering, right? Or you can just simply uh, go jump into the render right away, like just having some strokes and having some expressions. But yeah, it really depends, right? What I'm doing right now is just like um, with this whole tutorial is about just a render sketch render. So in that way you can have something that communicates the big picture of the idea, but it's not really a full final render. So it's some more like a quick idea, I would say. And I think this is pretty powerful when you are um, about to present projects or about to present ideas, um, because in your portfolio you have a variations, let's say levels on your sketches, and you have initial sketches, or when you have just a little bit of value or no value, and then you have maybe the sketch renders, the things that I'm doing right now, and then after that, okay, you have final renders or models and all that. So let's say there's steps, right? There are phases, and this is just one of the phases of car design. So it's just a render, a sketch render. So that's why it has to be a little bit loose, just communicate the overall idea, and just some emotion and expression, I would say. All right. So we are a little bit more than halfway on the tutorial, um, but it's almost there. The whole picture is kind of there, values are there. Um, we all know that it's in alpha. What I'm doing right now is just, let's say, try to, um, I would say, make it a little bit more understandable that this, for example, this backlight is hitting the surfaces. So in that way, the vehicle can be more integrated into the scene. Um, and I think that helps a lot when you have certain color as a background and then you bounce some of the light on the shapes, as I did. And then, as I said, this thing is gonna make your whole composition uh, is gonna feel more in harmony because it's more integrated, it's more realistic, I would say. Now I'm gonna try to put a little bit of that light at the bottom, right? I just make a selection with lasso, pretty quick, pretty simple, and I just blur it with the Gaussian blur, and in that way I can get this smooth, let's say, smudge underneath the whole car, right? Now I'm gonna try to, I don't know if this thing at the corner is gonna work, but I don't know, I try. That's the other thing that is very important. Is like you guys need to open all the time to try different stuff. Um, there's a lot of things that they might not be working that well, but um, I think that's part of the exploration and that's part of the process, especially in this type of field when you need to be super creative, so you need to take a lot of risks. Um, talking about having um, different expressions or try to find a different style, that type of risk. So now, as I said, I think my focal point is definitely on the front, uh, where all the lighting is hitting. So I'm just trying to keep that area clean, um, because that's where all the audience eyes is gonna are gonna be, right? This is like how I drive the audience to a specific detail. And every time you do a sketch, you need to think about that, like about the eye path. um, what do you what's your intention, right? What do you want to show to the people that you want them to right away go and see that? So you just keep that in mind. So what I'm doing is just try to put a little bit of the accent of the color, because I have this kind of like purplish background, and this tone, as you can see my in the bar when I'm open the color, this color is apparently working with the purple because it creates a smooth transition. So that's why I decided to grab that color, that kind of like aqua bluish thing, and combine it with the purple. So it can have this more artistic expression. And I think it's important when you're gonna have sketches, because you're supposed to be showing a mood. You're supposed to be showing a emotion, something that triggers like the desire of people to have this car or to build this car, right? So that's why the artistic aspect in a design sketch is very important. So because of course we all know that the purpose of the sketch is to create a eventually model of an actual car, right? But what is going to decide that desire to create that car, or to create, or to build the whole thing? Well, it's just that emotion that you trigger uh, with your artistic sketch, I would say. So yeah, it's pretty important having this artistic side, and just explore a lot. So I'm just gonna put some accents, um, a little bit of lighting and details, um, kind of like simulate the details that I had in my sketch. As I said, this is sort of like a render sketch. Um, this shouldn't be taken that much. Should take like less than an hour for sure. So it should be something super quick. Um, because you are just showing ideas, right? You're supposed to have like several of these type of sketches in your portfolio, right? This is not final render, it's just main idea. So alright guys, I'm just adding some details and we're almost there. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please visit my website. I have some more tutorials, a little bit more complete. This is just one type of face on a design sketch. Um, but in the rest of my tutorials, I'll be talking about style, I'll be talking about tools, I'll be talking about um, how do you define your style, how to find themes and all that. So each tutorial has a certain specific, let's say, topic, and a certain way to do things, combine colors, etc. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Any comments, anything you want to share, any thoughts about this sample tutorial, this free version? um, I'm open to feedback, and I would really appreciate if you guys have um, anything to say about this, or if you just simply like it. It's like I'm more than happy just knowing that. So now I'm just adding a little bit of accents, um, just the final touch. The sketch render is almost done. Just gonna adjust some of the levels. It's important to have some contrast, right? Just gonna add some small details from some of the details at the front, air intakes, or some of the splitter parts. Alright guys, this is the free version I just made for you. please visit my website. I'm pretty sure you're gonna find something that it looks really interesting to you. And thank you all for your support, and see you next time.